another another day, another video. In today's video, reacting to second part two of Blackpill content Noah Samsung.
Hey everybody, what's up? Hi. I've been uploading a lot once a day. I'm not manic. I'm just having a good time. Back when I started YouTube, I was having a lot of fun just putting stuff out, going through the creative process, making it, finding a topic, doing that. And that's what I've been doing lately, and I've been having a blast. I do have my finger on the pulse of the burnout meter, so I'll make sure I'm good. So thank you though for checking in. The black pill. The black pill. I've covered it on this channel before, but as a
Also,
brief
1 million
refresher, you
views.
have the blue pill, the red pill, and the black pill. The blue pill, when it comes to dating, is people giving you advice that doesn't really work, but that society accepts. Just be yourself, bro. There's plenty of fish in the sea, bro. Just go out there and put yourself out there and you'll find somebody, bro. To many in online men's communities, this is simply not enough and represents a certain naivete when it comes to the modern dating scene and online dating, which heavily relies on appearance. So if you're not up to par,
If I want to tell my opinion on black pill, red pill, blue pill is just the most stuff like what is shown in the media, what is shown in Disney movies. Like just be yourself, you will get the girl. And red pill is like do the hard work, you will get it. Become that alpha male, Chad. And black pill is like it's just over.
all that advice is basically trash, throw it in the dumpster. Then you have the red pill, which is the red pill is the waking up to the reality, which is you got to get fit, you got to get a build a small business, make some money, and become a high value man, and then you'll become competitive in the dating scene, and the
High
ladies will
value
start
man.
dropping like flies and landing on top of you. You can hold them, carry them around, because as flies do when they drop, they die. After the red pill, then you go all the way over here in this kind of extreme zone and you have the black pill. Now, the black pill essentially says that there's very little you can do to improve your situation as far as dating goes. Most men that fall below a certain looks scale or ugly or out of shape or genetically predisposed to being not hot, basically. And so, according to the black pill, the best thing for these men to do is accept reality that you're never going to find someone and turn away from dating entirely and find peace elsewhere in life. Those are the three pills, and today we're going to be looking at the black pill. Wheat Waffles is basically the biggest black pill channel. He has about 135,000
Wow.
subscribers. I've talked about this channel before, and I'm not here trying to double dip the chip
He
and go
probably has
back and send
140K
people over there his way to be like, ah. But I do want to just sort of get an update on what's being said in this space about dating from the black pill perspective, and then look at how it's being interpreted. How is this stuff being used online by the audiences that consume it? So let's do it, check it out, and don't forget to. First video I want to look at is called You've Been
Right.
Warned, Ugly Men Do Not Approach Women. See this thumbnail here is a lady, and the big do not approach.
These thumbnails are always like these, like girl faces zoomed out and crazy looking
Me. So Wee
faces.
Waffle starts this video out by playing a clip
In
from it looks
video, I don't even understand like how they find the perfect face for the thumbnail.
like a TikTok of a woman who saw a man in a parking lot and sort of yelled at him to get away from her. I'll just play it now. I'm literally.
Did he muted the video? Hmm. Look at my timer. I bought this timer, amazing timer. Just set this and click it and kitchen timer. It also a magnet. Why is this video not ending, man? Let's focus forward.
Think. Well, on the one hand, people.
It was such a long video. Why did you even show on that video? Wait a second.
Okay, so upon watching this video, what do we think? Well, on the one hand, people do have bad experiences with strangers. I think a certain level of safety is often warranted in interactions with people you don't know, people in parking lots, anything like that, especially when you're with your kids, right? But in the case of this video, there's a few things that sort of call into question the motivations of like what's happening here. For one, it sounds like the guy was pretty like neutral in approaching her. He said, "Excuse me, ma'am." This wasn't late at night or anything, and he was like from a distance when he said, "Excuse me." I think to most people that sounds like a pretty reasonable way to approach someone. He's not jumping at her from behind the car to say, "Excuse me." And so for that reason, you could see why a clip of this might go viral, right? Because obviously it went viral. That's how Wheat Waffles found it. It's someone seeming to act irrational, justifying their behavior by it being something from a book they read and calling out, a gender, men, and saying they're a threat, they're dangerous. And so a lot of people share it being like, no, we're not. And this guy wasn't either. That's basically how this breaks down on the internet. The original post was deleted, so you can assume there was a lot of negative backlash. Now let's see how Wheat Waffles takes this example.
Okay, the original post was deleted. That's why he had to mute that post as well.
Uses it for his video here.
Guys, before I go ahead and begin analysing this clip, I'm going to start this video with a quick analogy. Most of you will be familiar with the insects moths and butterflies. Moths are seen as ugly creatures, an annoyance, vermin.
One thing I understand that you just have to approach, and most people are not that mean. Like out of 100, only one or two people are going to be rude towards you. Most people will be ignoring even if they find you annoying. Just approach. You don't know, like you might find some amazing people in your life by
And are
approaching.
okay to exterminate. Whereas butterflies are seen as beautiful insects, colourful,
I need to
pristine,
approach people
and
more
should be
often.
protected.
First of all, why are you shitting on moths? What did moths do to you? There's plenty of gorgeous moths, and even the moth on the screen, it's got a nice. I think it's cute. And also, who said butterflies can't be invasive? You ever seen those fluffy caterpillar vermin crazy stuff that goes on in the springtime sometimes? That shit is invasive as hell, and it's butterflies. So debunked. There you go. But okay, what is the relevance of this dichotomy here? Let's find out. So moving on.
Now looking at the clip, I have absolutely no way of verifying this, but I could bet any money that the man who approached this woman was certainly a sub-5 ugly guy.
Hey man, what are you talking about? Okay, so here we get to the first fundamental flaw in this video, which is that Wheat Waffles assumes that the guy who approached this woman was ugly, with zero evidence. In the video, she does not specify whether this guy was a sexy guy or not, and so any meaning derived from this situation about the guy's relative attractiveness is just made up. It's just bullshit.
And the reason I think this is because the way women treat ugly men and attractive men are literally light years apart from one another.
Wheat Waffles acknowledges this by saying that he is
I mean, this is true. If you are ugly person, you are going to be treated worse than somebody who is attractive. That's just how life is. Can't really do much about it.
has no way of telling whether or not this guy was actually ugly, but then proceeds with his video under that assumption. And I think here is a good first example of the sort of logic that exists within the black pill spaces. Because there's no way you can watch this video and continue to take it seriously once the totally speculative assertion comes up that the guy was ugly, and then that's the reason why this woman reacted to him this way. It's sort of an in-group, out-group thing. You turn the video off once you realize, oh, that doesn't make any sense. But if you already have an inherent feeling of mistreatment because you're an ugly guy and you've been mistreated that way, at least in dating or whatever, or you see people getting mistreated for being ugly, then you can keep watching the video and grant him that assumption that the guy was ugly.
They see them as an embarrassment, lowering their social value, and at a worst case, dangerous. Whereas for attractive men, they are seen as safe, kind, and compassionate. Even studies show better looking people are treated better. This article from a women's magazine shows a study, on average, attractive male and female servers made about $1,200 more a year than unattractive servers. Mostly due to the disparity in women's tips. That's right, women are way more superficial than society wants you to believe.
So Wheat Waffles here bizarrely cites this article that takes a study about the attractiveness of servers and relative to the amount of tips that they get, and concludes that women are more superficial than men, which is just a weird thing given that the conclusion of this paper is that there needs to
Nah, nah. Women are not that superficial. Mm, Actually, men are very shallow and superficial. Girls are more have more depth than
be more
boys.
research done, because this was a very specific regional and small sample size study, if you can even call it that. It was a survey. But also the bigger thing is here, why? What does that have to do with this situation? He's using this article to say that attractiveness matters in terms of how people are treated, but that actually doesn't have anything to do with the video in question, because there's no statement on whether or not the guy was attractive. It's just strange. Let's just continue though.
I am extremely confident that he would have looked like this, a bottom 10%er in terms of appearance. Because if we hear some of her quotes, I am literally shaking right now, because I just had a man approach me in the parking lot. Now, why would she be shaking after just having a man approach her? I mean, I can tell you myself, as a non-ugly guy, this is not the kind of response you'd expect from women.
Yeah, as a sexy hot guy, this has never happened to me. So anyone getting a negative reaction, that guy probably was not a sexy hot guy, because I know what it's like, and this stuff doesn't happen. This here is just such a funny point to make, but it's just nonsensical, because it posits that the number one and the only thing that it determines someone's response to seeing you is
अबे थांब, हे जे मोबाईलवर असं कनेक्टेड आहे ना, हे जिओ मुळेच आहे. इंटरनेट नाही खर्च होत आहे त्यानं, कनेक्ट होत आहे फक्त त्यानं दोन्ही. ते म्हणते दोन्ही हे पाय, तूच पाय हे ना हे सुरू नाही राहत हिच्या बिना, जिओच्या बिना सुरू नाही राहत. हे लॅपटॉप कसा कोण केला, जुगाड लावला मी. ठीक आहे.
is your relative level of attractiveness. In the case
हे ओबीएस याच्यावर केलं
नाही एवढा केला तू
करा लागलं काय
लहानपणी मुली स्ट्रीम करत होती.
आता करू शकतो तू, तिथं दाबात स्ट्रीमचं, हे इथं स्ट्रीमचं असते, दाबलं की डायरेक्ट
माइनक्राफ्ट सुरू
नाही होत नाही काय
माइनक्राफ्ट हा जरा मी केली असते. 1K सबस्क्राइबर झाल्याचे माहिती भेटलं असतं, पैसे कमवले असते, तुला चालले असते.
भाई कधी मेहनतचं काही नसतं. माझा होऊ दे ना एवढा व्हिडिओ, फक्त नंतर घेऊन घे तुझी. मी रेकॉर्ड मी अजून एक व्हिडिओ रेकॉर्ड केला तसा.
तुझा मोबाईल घेईन मी.
हा जा.
thing that it determines someone's response to seeing you is your relative level of attractiveness. In the case of the woman, who obviously there was a bunch of different factors, probably like the thing she said she read in the book, her relative stress levels, whatever she felt in the parking lot that made her stressed or worried about the man, regardless of whether you think those reasons are like an overreaction, all of them are reduced down to, was the guy sexy? This is bizarre, man. This is bizarre. When I made my last video on Wheat Waffles, one of the things his viewers, when they would comment on my video, would say was, Wheat Waffles sticks to the statistics and the arguments and the facts, and you're not debunking them. But here we have an entire video that's just based on a fallacious logic. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit and use one last point, and because this video is pretty much, I don't need to look at it anymore, but it's pretty fucking funny.
My point is, only ugly guys get this level of treatment from women. In fact, this leads great into the next point, because it's not just women who treat ugly guys terribly, but men too. Check out this video.
Hey guys, I'm in New York City just hanging out.
Wow, the facial expression says it all.
It's a vine, bro. It's a vine. Oh my gosh, this is so funny, dude. Obviously, yes, this guy is being kind of a dick in this video. The punchline is, this guy looks weird. This guy looks ugly. I'm gonna do the face. I'm not even here to challenge the assertion that ugly people are treated worse in society. I think that's generally something that's hard to disagree with, at least with statistics. But in this video, Waffles is trying to drive this point home by showing examples of people being mistreated for being ugly, when there's tons of examples of people being mistreated in public that aren't ugly. Just like there's tons of examples of people being scared in parking lots of men that are handsome. Squidward. This is a good time to just
Handsome
request to my viewers, if
Squidward,
you feel like sharing any stories
Chad
of times you've been creeped out by someone that was conventionally attractive. And We Waffles viewers, if you're watching this, scroll down and read some of those stories. Because the underlying black pill logic is attractive men can get away with murder. Literally, women will forgive them because they're sexy hot. Women will forgive you for a murder, but if you're ugly, that would not be forgiven.
As the saying goes, every image speaks 1,000 words.
I think this is sort of a misuse of the adage that every image speaks 1,000 words. That saying really isn't meant to mean every image speaks 1,000 of the words that I want to say, that I'm trying to get you to believe, so that you will watch my YouTube channel, so that you will buy my face rating thing. Which I guess brings me to the end of this specific video, which is that when it's time to come up with solutions for the viewers of how to deal with the plight of being ugly, he doesn't really give all that much other than one big thing, which is the
That's the thing. He's the smart dude who will point out these are the bad things that are happening, but he's a dumb person like me. I will look for positive stuff and try to be very practical. I don't care about these stupid stuff, black pill stuff. Even though I'm a short guy, it doesn't mean it's over. These these incels will just comment it's completely over and stuff like that. It's not a productive mindset.
thing you pay for.
This leaves just one more question. What's the solution? I have two suggestions. 1. Obtain the knowledge if you are in the dreaded creep category, in which case you want to avoid women for your own safety. Or 2. If you're on the verge of being a creep, do as best you can to improve your appearance so you can pull yourself out. And with these two
Obviously,
things
good
said,
pricing is a good thing.
you'll be pleased to know I have the tools to fix both.
Yeah,
For the
buy
past
my
2 years,
course.
I've sold thousands,
Not course,
literally
rating,
thousands
rating.
of face ratings to you guys. So you can know exactly where you stand and therefore the level of treatment women will give you. I've also given tens of thousands of pieces of looks maxing advice.
Okay, so there you have it. There's the monetizing element. So let's just look at the two solutions here before we look at the face rating thing. Number one is obtain the knowledge if you are in the dreaded creep category, in which case you'll want to avoid women for your own safety. Now, actually, the video at the start was the opposite of that. The woman was avoiding the man for her own safety. The man was in no threat. She was like running. But the second potential solution that We Waffles outlines here is actually kind of interesting because it represents a sort of deviation from the black pill. The black pill, like the actual black pill, would only adhere to the first solution. Because if you're actually black pilled, you believe that there's nothing you can do about your appearance. That is the sort of inherent logic in a lot of We Waffles videos. That's how he's built his following. So in some sense, this second solution represents a move in the right direction, right? Instead of telling men to give up, he's saying, there's things you can do to make yourself
It's
more
better
attractive,
than
and
just,
being attractive in society could lead to generally more positive outcomes. This deviation to the red pill, there's actually a few other videos that do this on We Waffles channels, and his audience don't really react well to that. Like this video here, why dating as a man is objectively better. Obviously, this breaks from the rhetoric of the black pill that things are much, much worse off for men and you should just give up. There are some
No, it's actually a better thing to be a man because you have so many opportunities. You have so much energy, testosterone. You can do so many great things in life. And if a girl is ugly looking, people will accept her even like that. But still, if she is ugly, she can't do much. If a guy is ugly but he gets successful, he can get all the stuff. Like you will argue like he will not get true love, but everything will be amazing if he gets successful.
serious problems with
Girls can't
examples
really
like
do
this video.
Reason 1. The proportions of what makes you attractive are more evenly spread. Let's be honest. When guys look at girls,
Yeah,
80% of it is just looks.
Yeah.
Then the other
Definitely.
20% is how clean her past is, what she's like as a person, and maybe a couple other things. Meanwhile, for men,
That should be pretty self-evident as to sort of the deep-rooted misogyny in what this viewpoint on women is. Big old chunk for the how hot they are, and then
I'm exceptional, not gonna lie in this. Like I'm INFP. INFPs are quite deep people. Usually they are girls, but if I want a partner, I would prefer personality, character, all that stuff over looks. Even flat is fine to me if face is decent looking.
just leaves 10% for who they are. Absolutely, truly just wild. So again, like even though this move to a red pill thing could be considered a step in the right direction, if that logic is still founded on like a deep sense of misogyny, then that's not really any better. It's sending men off into the world to be more successful at dating, as in getting Tinder matches. And then those men who actually maybe will get in a relationship hold just these deeply skewed beliefs about reality and women. He's driving home this point the whole time that women hate ugly men, women will never even want to look at ugly men, women will act irrationally in the face of seeing an ugly man. And so if you're ugly, you should pay for this thing that I sell. That's to me really what's morally contentious about this channel is that sort of paywalling of this advice and the way that building up to the paywall, it's sort of riling up your insecurities. But I want to look at some of the comments here
Yeah,
just
it
really
makes
quick. If you are
this
not a
type of
6'3" chap
this type of content makes you more insecure about yourself. That's just not good.
looking 8 packs, 7-figure, and below 35-year-old don't even dare approaching a 3 out of 10 magnificent queen. As a sub 5 man, the biological fact that essentially no women will entertain my romantic advancements has actually been very beneficial to me. In my early adult years, this caused me a lot of grief, but now that I'm older and have witnessed the routinely disastrous outcomes that beset romantic relationships, rejection has ironically saved me. I don't have to face the loss of assets and livelihood, my children, my freedom, and quite possibly my life. Gentlemen, if you are a sub 5 ma'am, as painful as it may be, you are quite possibly being spared a much worse fate than that of loneliness. Here's another perfect example of sort of the problem in these spaces. Obviously, this guy has had some bad experiences. He talks about grief, he talks about rejection and bad outcomes for people that he's seen couple up. So from that, you could see, that would make sense for someone to want to turn away from dating and not deal with that stuff. The issue with that, though, is that turning away from dating is one thing, but turning away from dating because of the threat that women pose, a threat that has been derived from this sort of biased anecdotal worldview, that's just resentment. That's just you're talking about resentment. These are very different things, right? Because one of them is a decision you make on your own, and another one is a decision that's influenced heavily by like a biased data set, especially if you're like watching Wheat Waffles, right? All of these stories about how women are going to screw you over and how your chances are low and you should just give up, which doesn't bode well for having a sort of healthy, balanced view on what happens in relationships. And that's really not any better. To me, it doesn't seem like it's any better. That's all I wanted to talk about today was this channel revisiting the black pill. Just a couple concluding thoughts. If it seems like I'm going easy on this guy in this situation, I think it's because I've been trying to take a different approach with these where I'm trying to like figure out, okay, what is trying to be said here and how can we like actually address that thing instead of sort of making fun of it from the outside. If that at all caused me to like steel man any of the points in this video, feel free to let me know, because I don't mean to downplay the things like the just extreme misogyny that is a part of this. I just really do think that if you look through the comments of these videos, you find a bunch of sad guys frustrated and kind of angry at the situation that they have in lives with their height or with their attractiveness or whatever. So they're coming to these videos because they're valuable to them. And I guess the question to pose here is like, how do we get them to see another way? I think firstly, the burden should be on people that aren't affected negatively by these sort of attitudes. Like obviously many men are watching these videos and taking this logic outward into the world and just being kind of assholes to women on like dating apps. So I wouldn't expect anyone that has experienced this sort of shitty misogynistic stuff that comes out of this to be assigned a role in.
Yeah, if I think about it now, this watching this type of content, it really has effect on my mental health. Like in POV of hating woman, like I just feel like it's unfair. They just have such a great advantage by just being born as a girl. I understand both genders have their own struggles, but still this mindset is, it just fucks me up. I want to Try to reduce this by reading of some affirmations about it. Affirmations. Yeah, it will take some time.
In fixing everybody, obviously not, but I think for those of us who aren't necessarily affected by this, or maybe even potentially could fall victim to this rhetoric but have found another way out of it, I don't know, I think my sort of
Look at my
prescription is to
message
just
board.
help these guys find some sort of community, maybe starting with online, but then in real life eventually, social contact,
Also my
friends,
house.
people to bounce their emotions off of and sort of get feedback on, that hopefully are outside of these spaces where everyone else is feeling so negatively about themselves and that their situations, that it ends up causing harm to themselves and other people, which this stuff I think does. So anyways, that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Goodbye. That's it for this video. Goodbye.